I welcome all of you to this channel of mathematics education. And our online classes of real analysis. We are doing topics of Unit 2. So let us revisit equivalence relation and equivalence classes. You have already learned about equivalence relation and equivalence classes in your earlier standards. Just I will remind you what is equivalence relation. Let X is any non-empty set. A relation, tilde sign. This is the tilde sign. That is the notation for relation. A relation defined on X is called reflexive if X is relative to X for every X belongs to X. It is called symmetric if X is relative to Y implies Y is relative to X. Means X is relative to Y, then we can say Y is also relative to X for every X Y belongs to X. And the relation is called transitive if it is given that X is relative to Y and Y is relative to Z. Then X is relative to Z for every X Y Z belongs to X. If any relation defined on X satisfies these three conditions, reflexivity, symmetricity and transitivity, then it is said to be equivalence relation. So a relation is said to be equivalence relation if it is reflexive, symmetric and transitive. Now for equivalence relation on X, for each X belongs to X, the equivalence class, its notation is square bracket into square bracket small x. This is the equivalence class generated by small x. So equivalence class generated by small x is defined as the set of all members y from X such that y is relative to X. So equivalence class generated by small x is nothing but the set of all elements of a capital X which are relative to small x. Relation you know very well. In 11th standard you studied relation and functions. So relation, it is not necessary to explain more about relation, but just I want to remind you that such relation is called equivalence relation and this is the equivalence class. Now this is also properties of equivalence classes. if this is the equivalence relation on X, then union of all equivalence classes is equal to the set X itself. Second property is, if X is relative to Y, then equivalence class generated by X and equivalence class generated by Y both are same, because equivalence generated by X is also defined as this. So Y equivalence class generated by Y is also member of all set of all members which are relative to Y. Here it is relative to X and X is relative to Y, so both are relative. Therefore the members which are relative to both are same. If not X relative to Y, X is not relative to Y, then equivalence class generated by X and equivalence class generated by Y both are disjoint. So intersection of these two is equal to null set. Both are disjoint. So normally equivalence classes are disjoint. Otherwise same. Only there are two possibilities. Both are same or both are disjoint. So if you consider different equivalence class, then it should be disjoint with other equivalence class. And union of all equivalence classes is the set itself. This is the primary knowledge of equivalence relation and equivalence classes. Now you know how to add two real numbers. But now we define sum, not only sum but sum modulo 1. Modulo 1 also you know that divide by 1, if it that is there is a reminder. Sum modulo 1. Let us see the definition. Consider the set I equal to close open interval 0, 1. So it contains 0 but does not contain 1. And all the real numbers between 0 and 1. Now for x, y belongs to this interval I, the sum modulo 1 is denoted by dot over plus. So this is the notation for sum modulo 1. And we define it as follow. X sum modulo 1 y equal to x plus y if x plus y less than 1. So if answer of simple addition of x plus y is less than 1, then its value is x plus y itself. But if your answer of simple addition of x and y is greater than or equal to 1, then the answer is x plus y minus 1. This is the definition of sum modulo 1. Let's see some examples. 3 by 4 plus 2 by 4 is what? 5 by 4. And 5 by 4 is greater than or equal to 1. So simple addition of 3 by 4 and 2 by 4 is greater than or equal to 1. Therefore, its sum modulo 1 is x plus y minus 1. So therefore 3 by 4 sum modulo 1, 2 by 4 equal to 5 by 4 minus 1, and that is equal to 1 by 4. But 3 by 4 plus 1 by 4 equal to 1, that is also greater than or equal to 1. So again 3 by 4 sum modulo 1, 1 by 4 equal to 1 minus 1, which is equal to 0. But here in third example, 1 by 9 plus 6 by 7, that is equal to 61 divided by 63, which is less than 1 because denominator is higher than numerator. Therefore, this is less than 1. So, this is less than 1, so its sum modulo 1 also the same simple addition of x and y. So 1 by 9 sum modulo 1, 6 by 7 is equal to 61 by 63 itself. Here we need not to subtract 1 because this quantity is itself less than 1. So need not to subtract 1. This is sum modulo 1. Now if we take a set of real numbers E is equal to say some interval 1 by 4 comma 3 by 4 and some real number y equal to 2 by 3. Then if we take simple addition of this set and this real number y, e plus y is equal to, then what to do? Add 2 by 3 on both the limits, lower limit as well as upper limit. So 1 by 4 plus 2 by 3 and comma 3 by 4 plus 2 by 3. This is again an interval. So this is the closed interval 11 by 12 comma 17 by 12. Now in order to find out the sum modulo 1 instead of simple addition, simple sum, what we need to do? We need to separate the members of this interval which are greater than or equal to 1 and which are less than 1. There are there are some numbers which are less than 1 and some numbers which are greater than or equal to 1 in this interval. Not all the numbers are greater than or equal to 1. Not all the numbers are less than 1. If all the numbers are less than 1, then the answer is that interval itself. But here some numbers are less than 1 and some numbers are greater than or equal to 1. How to identify? See, this is 11 by 12 lower limit, that is less than 1. And 17 by 12 is upper limit, which is greater than or equal to 1. So now start from 11 by 12 close interval and go up to 1 but with open interval. So 1 will not include in this interval. So all the members of this interval are less than 1 because we start from less than 1 and we ends at less than 1. This is open interval, so it is not equal to 1. All numbers which are less than 1 are members of this interval. Now which elements are remaining? Close interval 1, start from 1 and go up to this upper limit 17 by 12. So these are the two parts of our interval. So first find simple addition, simple sum e plus y. Take two parts of that and then keep this interval as it is, because all the members of this interval are less than 1. So keep it as it is. And all the members of this interval are greater than or equal to 1. So subtract 1 from each member. For that, what you have to do, just subtract 1 from lower limit as well as upper limit. So E sum modulo 1 y equal to this interval as it is, 11 by 12 comma 1 close open, union from this interval subtract 1 from lower limit as well as upper limit. So 1 minus 1 comma 17 by 12 minus 1. So this itself, this interval is at it as it is, union, here it becomes 1 minus 1 is 0 and 17 by 12 minus 1 is nothing but 5 by 12. So this is our answer. Now our next topic is non-measurable set. In this theory, we will show that there exists a set which is non-measurable, because up to this point we have talked about all measurable sets. Now we will talk about non-measurable set, so that there exists a non-measurable set. Let I equal to, 1 minute, this example is, we left this example, equivalence relation, example of equivalence relation. Let a relation is defined on I equal to close open interval 0 1 as x relative to y if x minus 1 is rational number for xy belongs to I. So if you take two elements from this set I, that is from this interval close open interval 0 1, then we say x is relative to y if it satisfies this condition. What is the condition? X minus y is rational number. That means x minus y belongs to Q. Q is the set of all rational numbers. You know that four basic sets. N is set of natural numbers. Z is set of integers. Q is set of rational numbers. And R is set of all real numbers. Real numbers are rationals and irrationals. Z is set of integers, the negative integers 0 and positive integers. So this relation is defined on this set I, and its definition is given as x is relative to y if x minus y belongs to Q. So that this relation is an equivalence relation. So equivalence relation ની definition આપણે જોઈ. We have seen the definition of equivalence relation. We say any relation is equivalence relation if it is reflexive, symmetric and transitive. So in order to prove that it is equivalence relation, let us prove that this relation is reflexive, symmetric and transitive. So first, reflexivity. What is reflexivity? X is relative to itself, X. See, reflexive if X is relative to X. So X is relative to X, that means X minus X must be a rational number. Then we say X is relative to X. Since X minus X equal to 0, X minus X is what? 0. And 0 is rational number, 0 belongs to Q. And this is true for every X belongs to I. કોઈ પણ આનો મેમ્બર લેશો X, small x, તો એમાંથી તમે X માઇનસ કરો એટલે આન્સર 0 જ આવવાનો. અને 0 તો રેશનલ નંબર છે. So this relation is reflexive. Now symmetricity. What is symmetricity? X is relative to Y, then we have to prove Y is relative to X. So let xy belongs to I with x is relative to y. So it is given that x is relative to y. X is relative to y, it is given. So by definition x minus y is rational number, or x minus y belongs to q. Say x minus y equal to q, small q. Now if you take y minus x, then y minus x becomes minus q. If q is rational number, then minus q is also rational number. So minus q also belongs to q. So that means y minus x is a rational number. This implies y is relative to x as per our definition. So this relation is symmetric. Now show that it is transitive. For that, take three members x, y and z belongs to I, with x relative to y and y relative to z. Now what we have to prove? X is relative to z. See, given that x is relative to y and y is relative to z. So x is relative to y, that means x minus y belongs to q. And say x minus y is equal to m. And y minus z also belongs to q, because y is relative to z. And so say y minus z equal to n. Now x minus z equal to, because we have to prove that x relative to z. For that we must prove that x minus z is rational number. So start from x minus z. Now x minus z is equal to x minus y plus y minus z. Now x minus y is m and y minus z is n. So m plus n. M belongs to q and n belongs to q. So m and n are rational numbers. Addition of two rational number is always rational number. So this is belongs to q. So x minus z is nothing but a rational number. Therefore x relative to z. So this relation is transitive. So we can say that it is equivalence relation on I. Now again come to this point, existence of non-measurable set. Let I equal to open close interval 0, 1. For xy belongs to I, we define a relation on I as x relative to y if x minus y is rational number. That is x minus y belongs to q. Then what we can say from that previous example, you can say that this relation is an equivalence relation on I. Just we have proved that this relation is an equivalence relation on I, because our definition is same. X relative to Y if X minus Y is rational number. Now it is equivalence relation, so you must have equivalence classes. So all equivalence classes, possible equivalence classes are, say, A alpha. A alpha. Let A alpha are equivalence classes on I. Then as per properties of equivalence classes, union of all equivalence classes is nothing but the set itself. So I equal to union of A alpha, where alpha belongs to arbitrary set. This is the notation for arbitrary set. So you can take 1, 2, 3 and whatever the equivalence classes are given. Suppose you have given 3 equivalence classes A1, A5 and A7. Then you can take alpha equal to 1, 5 and 7. And from the properties of equivalence classes, two equivalence classes, different equivalence classes are always disjoint. So if you take alpha and beta are different, distinct alpha and beta, then A alpha and A beta are disjoint. So A alpha intersection A beta equal to null for every distinct alpha and beta. This is what we know already. Now consider all the rational numbers Ri in I. In I is close open interval 0, 1. So all the rational numbers start with 0 less and up to less than 1. So start with 0, 0 equal to R0, less than R1, less than R2 and up to less than 1. So all these are all the rational numbers Ri in capital I. So our first rational number is R0, next one is R1, next one is R2. See, you know that set of all rational numbers is countable set. So set of rational numbers in 0 interval 0, 1 close open interval 0, 1 is also countable. Countable, so you can give the number to each and every rational number. You can say this is first rational number. You can say this is second rational number. You can say this is third rational number. So we have given names to each rational numbers. R0, R1, R2, R3, R4 and so on. Now consider the set capital P equal to, what is capital P? It is the set of members from A alpha but contains exactly one member from A alpha. A alpha is a set of many elements because it is equivalence class. So it may contain more than one element. It may contain only one element also, and it may contain more than one element because it is a equivalence class. But we are taking exactly one member from each A alpha and we generate this set P. So P equal to the set which contains exactly one member from A alpha. Now our claim is P is a non-measurable set. This set is non-measurable set. Now consider Pi. Pi is equal to P sum modulo 1 Ri. For every I equal to 1, 2 and so on. It is not starting with 0 but it is starting with 1. So we are not adding R0 because it is 0. R0 is 0. If you add 0, P plus 0, then it itself is P. So we are taking I equal to 1, 2 and so on. So Pi is equal to P sum modulo 1 Ri. That means P1 is P sum modulo 1 R1. P2 is P sum modulo 1 R2. Like that. Then Pi and Pj are disjoint for distinct I and j. That we will show or we will prove that two different Pi and Pj are disjoint. That means intersection of the two set is null set. Suppose the contrary. If possible, suppose Pi intersection Pj is not null, then there may be at least one element in Pi intersection Pj, say x. X belongs to Pi intersection Pj. For some I is not equal to j, then x belongs to Pi intersection Pj means x belongs to Pi also and x belongs to Pj also. Take x belongs to Pi, then Pi, what is Pi? P sum modulo 1 Ri. And we know that P sum modulo 1 Ri means some elements from P sum modulo 1 Ri. Let us say that some element from P is small pi. So x equal to small pi sum modulo 1 Ri for some small pi belongs to capital P. Similarly, x belongs to Pj also. So x belongs to Pj, that implies x equal to some member Pj from P sum modulo 1 Rj. Because Pj is P sum modulo 1 Rj. Therefore, both, see here x equal to this thing and here x equal to this thing. Both are x, so both must be same. So Pi sum modulo 1 Ri equal to Pj sum modulo 1 Rj. Therefore, Pi minus Pj equal to Rj minus Ri. Now, why we have taken simple subtraction? Because if it is greater than 1, then we have to subtract 1. And subtract by 1 is also a rational number. Rj minus Ri, if you subtract 1 from Rj minus Ri, then it is all again a rational number. So without any loss of generality, we can say Pi minus Pj equal to Rj minus Ri, which is a member of Q, which is a rational number. So here we get Pi minus Pj is a rational number. So from this definition of relation, Pi minus Pj belongs to Q. That means Pi relative to Pj. Therefore, Pi relative to Pj. So Pi, Pj are from same equivalence class because both belongs to P, capital P. See, both belongs to capital P and Pi, Pj are from same equivalence class. Why it is from same equivalence class? Because both are relative. So two members which are relative to each other are contained in same equivalence class. From properties, you can say. See, from properties, X is relative to Y, then equivalence class X, equivalence class Y generated by both are same. So same equivalence class. X, Y are belongs to same equivalence class. Therefore, Pi relative to Pj, therefore Pi and Pj are from same equivalence class and Pi Pj belongs to P. Pj also belongs to P. Pi also belongs to P. So both belongs to P. From this, what we get? Two members from P which are in the same equivalence class, which is contradiction because we have taken exactly one member from each equivalence class. There should not be more than one element from any equivalence class. But here we get two members from the same equivalence class which are in P, which is contradiction as P contains exactly one member from each equivalence class. This is contradiction. So what we have taken, Pi intersection Pj is not null, which is not possible. So Pi intersection Pj equal to null for every I is not equal to j. Now from equivalence class, definition of equivalence class, the set I which is equal to interval close open interval 0 1 is nothing but union of all Pi, because Pi equal to P plus Ri. So one element from each equivalence class and you are adding Ri, that is rational number. So you will get the whole I. So I equal to union of Pi. I runs from 1 to infinite. Now if possible, suppose what is our target? To prove P is non-measurable set. So again take contradictory, assume some contradictory. If possible, suppose P is measurable, then if P is measurable, then each Pi is also measurable because definition of Pi comes from P plus some rational number. P plus some rational number. Why we have taken some modulo 1? Because here our set is restricted up to 1 only. Any element from this I, set I, is not greater than or equal to 1. Therefore, we have taken here sum modulo 1. Now, if possible, suppose P is measurable, then Pi are also measurable sets from the definition of Pi. So, measure of 0, 1, that is measure of I, here measure of I or measure of interval 0, 1 is equal to measure of this, because all Pi are measurable sets. So, you can take measure, Lebesgue measure here. If it is not measurable, then you can't take Lebesgue measure. You have to take outer measure. But here they are measurable set, therefore you can take Lebesgue measure. So Lebesgue measure of interval close open interval 0, 1 equal to Lebesgue measure of union of Pi. But Lebesgue measure of this interval is difference of endpoints 1 minus 0, that is 1, is equal to measure of union of Pi. But we have proved already that M is countable additive and these Pi's are pairwise disjoint. So we can apply countable additivity on this. So this is equal to summation of measure of Pi. Now Pi, what is Pi? P sum modulo 1 Ri, and it is translation invariant. Lebesgue measure M is translation invariant. So translation invariant, so you take measure of Pi and you take measure of P sum modulo 1 Ri, both are same. So measure of Pi is nothing but measure of P. So measure of Pi is nothing but measure of P. So 1 equal to summation measure of P. Summation runs over 1 to infinite. That means measure of P plus measure of P plus measure of P plus measure of P plus measure of P infinite times. So all are same quantity. So you have to take addition of same quantity infinite number of infinite times. Infinite number of times. So if one quantity is first quantity measure of P is 1, then 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 infinite times. 0, then 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 infinite times. So if you take 0 plus 0 plus 0 infinite times, then it is 0. But if it is not 0, non-zero, then any non-zero amount, sum of non-zero amount for infinite times is nothing but infinity. So this is equal to 0 if measure of P equal to 0 and infinity if measure of P is non-zero. But this is contradiction because 1 is not equal to 0 and 1 is not equal to infinity. But you get 1 equal to either 0 or infinity. That is wrong. So which is contradiction. And hence our assumption was wrong that P is measurable set. So P should be non-measurable set. તો અહીંયા આપણે આપણું યુનિટ 2 કમ્પ્લીટ કરીએ છીએ. Stay safe. Wear a mask when you are outside. તો નેક્સ્ટ વિડીયોમાં આપણે યુનિટ 3 સ્ટાર્ટ કરશું. અને મીનવાઇલ થોડી તમને ઇન્સ્ટ્રક્શન્સ જે આપવાની છે એ આપી દઉં. કે તમારે એક જર્નલ બનાવવાની છે. આપણે આ સિલેબસ મુજબ 4 થિયરી પેપર 101, 102, 103 અને 104 છે. 101 is real analysis, 102 is number theory, 103 is differential equation and 104 is topology, or 103 and 104 are topology and differential equations, right? આ 4 થિયરી પેપર છે અને પછી 2 પ્રેક્ટિકલ પેપર છે. પહેલું પ્રેક્ટિકલ પેપરનો નંબર છે 105A, બીજા પ્રેક્ટિકલ પેપરનો નંબર છે 105B. 105A જે છે એ ફર્સ્ટ 2 થિયરી પેપર ઉપર આધારિત છે. ફર્સ્ટ 2 થિયરી પેપર એટલે રિયલ એનાલિસિસ અને નંબર થિયરી. અને બીજું પ્રેક્ટિકલ જે છે એ છે 105B. એ ત્રીજા અને ચોથા થિયરી પેપર ઉપર આધારિત છે, એટલે કે ડિફરન્શિયલ ઇક્વેશન અને ટોપોલોજી ઉપર આધારિત છે. તો તમારે ફર્સ્ટ પ્રેક્ટિકલમાં રિયલ એનાલિસિસ અને નંબર થિયરીના પ્રેક્ટિકલ્સ આવે. તો આના માટે તમારે જર્નલ બનાવવાની છે. એ જર્નલની અંદર રિયલ એનાલિસિસના પ્રોબ્લેમ્સ જે કંઈ દેવામાં આવે પ્રેક્ટિકલ્સ સ્વરૂપે તે લેવાના છે, અને બીજા નંબર થિયરીના પણ એમાં લેવાના છે. જર્નલ આપણી કોઈ સ્પેસિફાઈડ જર્નલ આપણા ડિપાર્ટમેન્ટનું નામ છાપેલું હોય એવી કોઈ જર્નલ છે નહીં. જેમ સર પીપીની અંદરથી કે બીજી કોઈ કોલેજમાંથી તમે બીએસસી કર્યું હોય ત્યારે બીએસસીમાં જેમ જર્નલ બનાવતા હો, તો એમાં તમારે સર પીપી ના હોય તો સર પીપીનું કોલેજનું નામ છાપેલી જર્નલ બજારમાં અવેલેબલ હોય છે, એ તમે લેતા હો છો. પણ આપણે ડિપાર્ટમેન્ટમાં ફર્સ્ટ ટાઈમ આ પ્રેક્ટિકલ ઇન્ટ્રોડ્યુસ કર્યા છે, એટલા માટે આપણી કોઈ જર્નલ આપણા નામની આવતી નથી. એટલે તમારે કોમન એક કોઈ સિમ્પલ જર્નલ જે આવતી હોય તે હાર્ડ બાઉન્ડ હોવી જોઈએ, જેવી તમે ત્યાં યુઝ કરતા હતા બીએસસીમાં, એવી જ હાર્ડ બાઇન્ડિંગ વાળી જર્નલ હોવી જોઈએ. પણ ઉપર કંઈ આપણી ડિપાર્ટમેન્ટનું નામ છાપેલું હોય એવું જરૂરી નથી. કોઈનું નામ છાપેલું ન હોય એવી કોમન જર્નલ લેવાની છે. માર્કેટમાં અવેલેબલ હોય છે જર્નલ. એમાં કોઈ આપણે સ્પેસિફિક એવું નથી કે તમારે 4 લાઇન્સ વાળી લેવાની હોય છે, કે સ્ટેટિસ્ટિકમાં જેમ તમારે આવતું હોય છે પેલા ગ્રીડ વાળી જર્નલ્સ, એવું કશું નથી. આપણે સિમ્પલ પેજ વાળી સિમ્પલ પાના હોય, લાઇનિંગ વાળા પેજીસ અંદર હોય એવી જર્નલ લેવાની છે. જર્નલની અંદર સર્ટિફિકેટ ને એવું બધું હોવું જોઈએ, એટલે એ સર્ટિફાય અમે કરી શકીએ. હવે તમારે શું કરવાનું છે તો કે એક જર્નલ બનાવવાની છે, એ રિયલ એનાલિસિસ અને નંબર થિયરી બંનેની ભેગી બનાવો તો ચાલે, અલગ અલગ બનાવો તો પણ ચાલે. તમને કેવી જર્નલ ઓછા પેજીસ વાળી મળે તો તમારે 2 સેપરેટ થાય. વધારે પેજ વાળી જર્નલ હોય તો એકમાં 2 કરી શકો, એકના 2 પાર્ટ કરી શકો. હવે એવી રીતે બીજી જર્નલ બનાવવાની છે, પેપર નંબર 105B માટે. એક જર્નલ છે એ 105A માટે. પ્રેક્ટિકલ્સ અંદર કઈ રીતે લખવાના છે, કેવા, તો કે હું તમને અહીંથી તમને ઓનલાઈન જે કંઈ આપણે કર્યું છે એમાં અમુક મેં તમારા માટે હોમવર્ક માટે છોડેલું છે. એવામાંથી જેનું મેં ઓલરેડી તમને થિયરી એને રિલેટેડ બધું કરાવેલું જ હોય. એવું નથી કે સાવ તમારા માટે નવું હોય. મેં તમને કરાવેલું હોય અને એ જ વસ્તુ જે છે. સપોઝ હજુ આગળ આપણે એક્સરસાઇઝ કોઈ પણ હું તમને એક્સરસાઇઝ ફોર્મમાં આપીશ તો એ તમને એવો ને એવો સમ મેં કરાવેલો હોય તો જ હું એક્સરસાઇઝ આપીશ, નવો સમ નહીં આપું. તો યુનિટ 1 માંથી મેં કેટલું આપેલું છે, યુનિટ 2 માંથી આપ્યું છે. આ બધું હું તમને શું શું મેં તમને આપ્યું છે અથવા તો એને લગતું બીજું કાંઈ હોય તો એવા ક્વેશ્ચન્સ જે છે એ હું તમને અલગથી પ્રેક્ટિકલ ક્વેશ્ચન્સ એમ કરીને અથવા પ્રેક્ટિકલ એક્સરસાઇઝ એવું કંઈ નામથી તમને એક પીડીએફ તમને મળશે. એની લિંક વોટ્સએપ ગ્રુપમાં આપણે આપીશું. આ જે છે એના એ જે એક્સરસાઇઝ રિયલ એનાલિસિસ પૂરતું હું આપીશ, જે તે સબ્જેક્ટના ટીચર તમને એ પ્રમાણે આપશે કે આ તમારો પ્રેક્ટિકલ માટેનું છે. તો એના આન્સર્સ જે છે એ તમારે જર્નલમાં લખવાના છે. તો આપણે 2 યુનિટ જે કમ્પ્લીટ કર્યા છે એમાંથી હું તમને જે કંઈ જર્નલમાં લખવાનું છે પ્રેક્ટિકલ પર્પઝ માટે એ આખું તારવીને અલગથી તમને પીડીએફ આપીશ. કોઈ પણને ગમે ત્યારે કોઈ પણ પ્રકારની ડિફિકલ્ટી હોય તો મારો નંબર દર વખતે આપણે શેર કરીએ છીએ વોટ્સએપ ગ્રુપમાં. નંબર ઉપર મને કોન્ટેક્ટ કરીને પૂછી શકે. જે તે સબ્જેક્ટની ડિફિકલ્ટી જે કાંઈ હોય કન્સર્ન ફેકલ્ટીને તમે ફોન કરીને પૂછી શકો. તો આ રીતે હું તમને હવે પછી પ્રેક્ટિકલ માટેનું પણ તમને ક્વેશ્ચન્સને આપીશ અને એના આન્સર્સ જો તમારી પાસે ન અવેલેબલ હોય, તમે એમ કહેતા હો કે મારા વસ્તુ અમને નથી તમે કરાવી, તો તમે મને કહેજો, કહી શકો છો કે આ વસ્તુ નથી કરી, તો આપણે એને કવર કરશું અને એને અલગ પછી તમે આન્સર લખી શકો. તો આ રીતે આપણે પ્રેક્ટિકલની જર્નલ તૈયાર કરતા જવાની થાય છે. રાઈટ. તો આટલી સૂચના હતી. ઓકે, તો આજે આપણે અહીંયા ફિનિશ કરીએ. થેન્ક યુ ઓલ.